Hollywoodske legende Eric Roberts i Michael Paré u Baranji su snimali thriller Wrongful Death. Film je u međunarodnoj produkciji režirao hrvatski redatelj s njemačkom adresom Vjekoslav Katušin.
The people are very approachable. They're very nice, and they feed you constantly. It's a pleasure.
You had a chance to see the nature.
No, it's like I told you in the interview earlier. When you're an actor, you see your hotel room and the set. You don't get to sightsee. You don't get to be a tourist. You don't have the time. We work 12 to 18 hours every day, 6 days a week. We don't have time to be a tourist when we're working. So.
Like Mr. said, you did get a chance to visit a bakery. That left an impression on them. Did it leave an impression?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, they gave us tons of free baked goods. It was really wonderful. Yeah. So we gave them all to the cast and the crew.
When you were giving an interview earlier, you mentioned that there isn't much difference between shooting in Hollywood and shooting in a small town.
There is no difference. There is no difference between Hollywood and Croatia. It's an artist behind the camera, it's an artist in front of the camera, and it's a camera, and you're trying to tell a story. It's all the same thing.
But surely there are some differences in the surroundings.
Well, the bigger the budget, the more stuff you have. The more lenses you have, the more cars you have, the more trucks you have with stuff. But the process never changes.
And call me when you get there. Good. Hey, you have to promise me one more thing. Just one, okay, baby? Take the northern route. You go across Hungary. Do not go through Croatia, you hear me? Just don't go there, okay? Promise me. Say it.
Robertsu je ovo već drugi film koji je snimao na istoku Hrvatske. Otkrio nam je dojmove sa snimanja prvog uratka u Baranji.
All the same as I do now. Everybody was very approachable, and it was a pleasure to be here.
Tell us a bit about your role, character. You played, like we said earlier, you were in hundreds of movies. You played all kinds of characters. Did you have something to pull from to play this character?
I took this character because my first experience I had here was so positive, and I love V, my director, and he asked me to come play this part for him. I didn't even read the script. I just said, yes, I will come play that part for you. And then on the way here, because I'm so busy, I read the script on the way here. I learned my lines on the plane and got off the plane and went right to work. And I also love that kind of approach into work, where you work right away. You come, you work. You don't come and mess around. You come and work. And I like that. I like treating what I do as a job, not a pastime. You know.
A few words about the character itself. What kind of a guy?
I don't want to talk about him. I would rather you watch him and decide for yourself, as opposed to have me tell you what to see.
What did you experience as the real people you know who were an inspiration for you to take on this character? You don't want to talk about it at all.
Well, it's hard to explain, because then you have to go back through your home. Like you asked about my first visit here. That was 6 years ago, so it's kind of hard to know what I really knew then.
I'm asking about the character now. This character you're playing in this movie.
He's a conniver.
So a politician.
Yeah, he's a politician.
Hollywoodski glumci su uvijek glumili u filmovima izvan Hollywooda. Zanimalo nas je ima li ovaj dio Europe potencijala postati jedno od mjesta u kojem se mogu raditi dobri filmovi.
It's going to happen here because of this man right here, my boss, V. And people say, can things happen like that? If you want them to happen and you have somebody who really cares to have it happen, yes, it can happen right here. It can be Hollywood right here.
So maybe the highest profile movie you did recently was The Expendables. You got to play, again, the type of character that you were known for in the 80s and the 90s. How was that experience for you?
Shooting The Expendables was like boys' camp with all of us because we all got together in the morning at 5 a.m. in the gym, and we all leave at 6, and we're on the set by 7. And it was boys' camp. It was really fun. And I love Sly. I've worked with Sly now twice, once as an actor and once as a director. And I just love him. He's a cool cat.
Hollywood today is undoubtedly completely different than it was just 5, maybe 10 years ago. How do you view Hollywood today?
Well, when you say different, that encompasses the unexplained. What happened is, with this digital stuff, what took 3 months takes 3 days, not 3 weeks, 3 days. So you're 50 times faster now than you were with film. So everything is very fast. So your actor gets no time for research, no time to prep. You have to go. And it's a little frightening, but it's fun.
Uvijek dobro raspoloženi Roberts na svoj način komentirao i što ga sljedeće čeka.
Do you know imdb.com? That can tell you better than I can. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
No.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Completely unknown word. Keep working.
I will work till I drop. Or until my wife says I have to be home.
Thank you.
My wife's the boss. As I'm sure your wife is too.
We have not had a chance to hear much about the actual plot of the movie, but it seems to me you have one of the larger roles in this production. What would you say the main theme of the movie is, and what would you say about your character? What's your character like? What kind of a guy is he?
He's a broken-hearted father, and there's no medicine for his broken heart. My son committed suicide. He was a victim of bullying, but not by other boys, but the girls humiliated him, and he kills himself. And I don't, and so for 10 years, I'm planning my revenge to punish the people who I hold responsible, and I'm not a bad guy. I set it up so that they actually have to punish themselves. And when it comes to the moment where I'm going to, take my revenge, I don't know if I can do it.
What would you say, what are the differences between shooting in Hollywood, big productions, big money, and shooting in Europe, well, let's say, smaller productions like this?
On the big movies where there's a lot of money being spent, like, I've worked with a lot of big stars, Matthew McConaughey, Sandra Bullock, and Bryan Cranston, and, a lot of people. And those movies, everything happens slower. If you shoot 2 or 3 pages a day of the script, that's plenty. On the smaller movies where you have a shorter schedule, 8 pages is normal. 10 pages is okay, and sometimes even more. There's a lot more time taken, and that's really the only difference. And I think it makes it more complicated for the actor. For me, I like to work. I like, I don't want to leave the set. I want to be shooting my stuff, But in reality, you got to sit around and wait. You got to, when a big movie, you got to wait for the cars. You got to wait for traffic. You got to wait for, I did a movie where he would light for 8 hours before we shot, and that was regular. It wasn't once. It was like regular. Like, get used to it. Come in, be ready to work at 10 o'clock. You don't shoot until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You go crazy like that. Yeah.
Would you say that this part of Europe has potential? There are Hollywood actors have worked in different parts of the world since forever. Would you say that there is potential in this part of Europe?
Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, now that it's so much easier to make a movie with the digital cameras and LED lights, You know, I was trying to talk Viejo. I said, let's shoot a movie in a cavern. Let's shoot a movie in a cavern with the stalactites and everything. And they never wanted to do that 20 years ago, but now they have LED lights. And you can light the cavern with just batteries. You don't need cables and generators and all this stuff. So the technology, you can shoot anywhere in the world.
Has it changed things for you as an actor?
No, except it happens much faster. You know, it's faster. It's not like, look, when we were shooting on 35 millimeter, every foot of film, they knew how much that cost, you know, and if they printed 2 takes, that was in a big movie. I mean, I was on one of the biggest movies in Hollywood in the take, and it was like 2 prints, that's it. But this, you can shoot all day. You can shoot for 48 hours, and it doesn't cost any more than shooting 5 hours.
You mentioned old Hollywood. Many movies that you starred in, many movies that are considered the greatest of all times. Would you say that they couldn't be made in Hollywood today? Has Hollywood changed much?
No, they could be made. They could be made, but it would be 10 times the budget now. You know, a $25 million movie in 1984 would be $250 million today.
I was thinking more about the atmosphere currently in Hollywood.
Oh, no, even then they were trying to appeal to the broadest audience possible. There was a movie I was in that when I read the script, at the end of the movie, I get beat up and I lose a fight and I take a knife out and I kill the bad guy. Right? And they said, no, and it wasn't up until a day before we shot that scene where they said, no, you're not going to kill him with a knife. And I said, but I predicated my whole character on I won't lose at any cost. And they said, nah, we're going Disney with this. And it wasn't a Disney production, but they wanted it to sell around the world. And they ended up doing the right thing because it did sell around the world.
I asked Mr. Roberts the same question. I have to ask you, maybe rephrase it. To him, it seems retirement is a 4-letter word, something actors don't think about. You've also been in many movies. Do you ever think about it?
You know, I heard this quote from a famous actor. It says, you don't retire, you get retired. And then there's the other one, you're the last one to find out your career is over.
Hope that doesn't happen.
No, man, I'm going to work until I want to quit.
Thank you.